says, for blood it defileth the land.
Hold on. We on? So when you kill somebody, that means you had a cause. Whereas murder, you have no probable cause to take that person's life. But that's now you're guilty. Like you go to the law, it gives you acts that's certain acts if a person commit, it's supposed to be that person supposed to be sentenced to death, like adultery, homosexuality, bestiality. These are all acts unto death. So you could kill that man, you know? But now if you killed a man without no cause, now it becomes murder. So it says, go ahead, read it again.
It says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it.
Yeah, so America was brought up through violence, the act of violence. So therefore what? America have to go down by what? By the act of violence, you know? And how the Most High is going to do it? By thermonuclear fire. Because it rose up through violence, and the Most High is going to take it down by violence. Oh, that's it, really? Yes, all right.
Yeah, but let me just real quick.
Yeah.
Revelation 18:21.
Yeah.
And the mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying,
Now, what's the sea? The sea is referencing towards the people, and the great millstone is referencing towards what? The missiles. And it says it was cast into the people. Go ahead.
Saying, thus with violence,
Go ahead.
shall that great city Babylon be thrown down.
And Babylon is America. So America has to go down by violence. You know, and the Most High, the Most High is setting it up right now. You know, that's why I tell you in Zephaniah 3:8, I'm not mistaken, the determination is the God of the nations, because before the missiles come, there's gonna have to be a battle. Okay, it's gonna have to be a battle, and a lot of the people, a lot of the men, even certain women, gonna get drafted out. Need to piece, right?
Now check this out. When you start from 20, it says, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her.
Right.
So they did something, so now Most High got to avenge her.
That will be justice.
Yeah.
So what is justice? When you receive justice, that means the law have been administered. Now, if you go to court and you receive injustice, what did that mean? Meaning the law was not exercised, it was not administered. So you didn't receive judgment. So the Most High said what? He's gonna revenge her, America, through her blood.
Yep. And that goes back to Numbers. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence, look at the word thus, it means in this manner, or in this way. With violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all.
That's where you get on Malachi, and it says, though he build, the Most High should destroy, because the Most High is going to lead us as an example. Because what was the whole purpose of the Most High setting up America? So we could see what happens when the law is not administered, when the law is not exercised. And what's the result? People have multiple. You got to really sit somebody down and say there's only two genders, and break it down. People have all types of confusion. My pronoun is this. The Most High either gave you a vagina or a penis. It's not that difficult. You know, the Most High gave a woman an X chromosome and a man an X and a Y chromosome. No matter what you do, you still have your you still have your biology. You know, go ahead.
This is going back to numbers.
Right. That's the reason. I'm sorry, bro. There's a reason why women have a menstrual cycle every 28 days to a month. Because once you have a cycle, what's happening? The egg that was not fertilized is being discharged, because the egg is supposed to get what? Fertilized through a seed, through sperm. You know, this woman don't even know why they get a menstrual cycle. That's how messed up and backwards this world is. That's why it's known as Babylon. Okay.
This is going back to Numbers 35 and 33. This is Isaiah chapter 26, verse 21. I'm going to start at 20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut the doors, about thee, hide
So
thyself.
what's those chambers? Those chambers is going to be the chariots, you know, because even though the Most High is going to destroy this place, the Most High also has a plan to deliver his elect. And the elect is going to enter these chambers, these chariots. And the Most High is going to deliver us from this upcoming destruction.
It says, and shut thy doors about thee, hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed.
Right, because we're not going to partake in the fire. And the Most High is going to make it quick. That's why Scripture say what? Thus in 1 hour, so that great city Babylon be destroyed. And boom, that's it. America is going to be into flames.
Can I make a statement real quick? World War I commenced from 1914 to 1918. World War II commenced from 1939 to 1945. But World War III, 1 hour.
Well, it's gonna be longer than that. World War II, there's like I think an hour for America to be destroyed.
The destruction is going to be 1 hour. Because there is going to be a battle. You know, there's going to be a battle, and then they're going to lead to the destruction. Now, the destruction will be 1 hour. Because you're going to have a war. That's why, get 12, 3, and 20.
Well, you know, I'm going to frame that because after a while,
what you're saying is the battle. Go ahead.
It's going to be a battle pursuant to Second Ezra's, you know, the 13th chapter and all that, and then how they're going to come up against, they're going to be fighting against each other. But when Yahushua crack them skies, they're going to forget their differences. They're going to come together pursuant to Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, the first verse, to fight against he who came out of the clouds. You know what I'm saying?
Other words, what he's saying is, like in ancient time when he went to war, you had different battles that was comprised of the war. You had the battle of such and such, the battle of such and such. Whereas this destruction, it ain't gonna be years of battling. It's gonna boom, and that's it. And the place is gonna go into flames.
I got a little more real quick.
Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 26, verse 21. For behold, the Lord Yahweh cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood.
It's going to Yahushua. Yahushua, Most High going to send Yahushua, and Yahushua is going to destroy everything. You know, destroying and at the same time delivering the elect.
It says, the earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. Because going back to Numbers 35 and 33, you know what I'm saying, how the Most High said the only way this land can be cleansed of the blood that's been shed, but it's except by the men that shedded the blood. You know what I'm saying? So Esau got, and you got a lot of debt you got to cover. I mean, you got to pay. And I don't think you're going to be able to pay it, man.
You can't pay it. You know, that's why it says in Hebrews, you know, though he sorted out with tears, there's nothing Esau could do to pay that debt. Because at one point, Israel was in debt with the Most High, but that's when Yahushua stepped in and Yahushua paid that deficit through his blood.
That's right.
But Esau have nothing or no one to pay that debt from. That's why it says sins reach up to heavens, because he can't pay it off with the Most High. Is there more?
That was it.
You got something to read?
Revelation 6 and 2. And I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
Right, and that white horse represents towards the chariots. And the one that sat on that white horse is Yahushua. Because Yahushua, when he returned, Yahushua is coming with a fleet of, you know, chariots. And the scripture say with Michael the archangel.
I got a precept. This is Revelation chapter 19, verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true. And
that's Yahushua. Yahushua is the one that sat on that white horse, which is the chariots.
It says, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness doth he judge and make war.
And righteousness does he judge and make war. Get on, Joel.
It's the book of Joel, chapter 3. I'm starting verse 19. says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah,
Zephaniah 3 and 8.
because they have shed
2, 3, and 8.
3 and 8, 3 and 8.
because they have shed innocent blood in their land.
So read that again.
This is Joel chapter 3, verse 19. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness.
Right. This Egypt is not talking about over there in the continent of Africa. This Egypt is over here talking about America. You know, that's the Egypt the Most High is referencing to. Go ahead.
For the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood.
So what happens? What is shedding innocent blood? That's murder. Go ahead.
And because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For the Lord dwelleth in Zion.
Right. What did you read it? 3 and 20? Read that. Let me see. Oh, it's 3 and 12. Go 12.
You said Zephaniah 2,
3 and 8.
3 and 8.
3 and 8.
This is Joel chapter 3, verse 12. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Right. It says, let the heathen be awakened, which is talking about a different nation, and let them come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Now, the word Jehoshaphat is a compound word, which means Yahweh Shaphat. Yahweh, the Most High's name. Shaphat means judgment. Okay? So, where that's going to take place, we're going to read it in a second. And, matter of fact, go ahead, read.
For there were I sent to judge all the heathen round about.
Go ahead.
Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great.
So the fat represents the wickedness, you know. So the Most High is referencing the wickedness of America as grapes that's reached maturity, that's ready to be plucked, and to stomp it. Go ahead.
Multitudes in the valley of decision.
So the valley in decision is the same as the valley of Jehoshaphat. So it says multitude in the valley of decision. Go ahead.
For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
My bad. Go to read that until I find it.
Zephaniah 3 and 8, right?
3 and 8, yeah.
This is Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8.
20, my bad.
Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey.
Right, so the Lord said for us to wait upon him, because it's the Most High that's going to avenge the blood of Israel, not us. You know, so trying to form an alliance to take down the white man, when you do that, you're going against the Most High, because the Most High is the one that gave this man the power to do the things he did, and the Most High is going to be the one to take him down. So the Lord said to wait. Go ahead.
It says, I'm going to read it from the top. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my
And now the prey, of course, is America. Go ahead.
For my determination is to gather the nations.
Gather the nations and do what?
That I may assemble the kingdoms to pour out upon them my indignation.
Right, so the Most High is the one that's gathering these nations to come to war and to fight. Go ahead.
It says, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy.
And that's going to be the end result. The end result is America being completely destroyed. And there's going to be other parts of the earth that are going to get targeted with missiles, but they're going to get built back up, whereas America is not. and it's gonna be left as a monument.
I got a precept real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. And it reads, "For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken."
Right. In the north country, you know, it's talking about, you know, Russia, you know, and Russia is allies with Iran, and there's gonna be other nations as well that have nuclear capability, but the leading powers is gonna be Iran and Russia.
Real quick, I did a show earlier on how France was pissed off with America. They said America stabbed them in the back because what happened was they had a $90 billion military contract with Australia dealing with diesel fuel submarines. And what the UK and America did was they went behind it. They signed a contract with Australia and they're giving them nuclear power with submarines. And that did away with the contract with the French government had with the Australian government. Now, when you go back in time, once Great Britain exited from that Brexit situation where they exited from the EU, the leading power became France. Now you got Germany through the pipeline that Russia built to Europe, receiving gas. So Germany's already an ally of Germany. I'm saying of Russia. Now you got the president of France talking about they need to improve relations with Russia and form a pan-military structure to not depend on America and its NATO allies. That's what that's telling you, man. That's prophecy. What's going on is these different European nations, like it says in Revelation, the 17th chapter, the 16th verse, you know, they will begin to hate the whore. And that's what's happening, man. That's what's happening right now. And that's not an assembly of great nations pursuant to Jeremiah, the 9th chapter, the 15th chapter, the 9th verse, man. And that's why you see these things happening. But the average person out there can't see this because why? They too busy hoping that everything go back to normal. But things are not going back to normal, man. We're in a time of death, war, famine, earthquakes, upwards of the people. We're in a time of floods. We're in a time of volcanoes erupting. All kind of madness is happening, man, throughout the four corners of the earth, man. And that's just straight coming down to the facts. That's straight facts, man. You got it back, bro.
Yeah, good. Joel.
This is Joel chapter 2, verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate.
All right, read that one more again.
This is Joel chapter 2, verse 20.
Isaiah 14.
But I will remove far off
Verse, man.
from you the northern army.
Right, it said, I will move far off from you the northern army. Now, in this case, the northern army is referred towards America, because where we located. We located in the northern hemisphere. Go ahead.
And will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face
Right,
toward
it said, and it will drive him, American army, into a land barren and desolate. Something that's barren, meaning is a desert, something that is a waste. Go ahead.
with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the uttermost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savior shall come up, because he had done great things.
Right.
Fear not, O land.
Read that again. Yeah.
Joel chapter 2, verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the uttermost sea.
Let me see something. I won't pull up a map.
Because basically, we did it again about the show.
This is Joel chapter 2, verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army.
The northern army is a city in America, man. they're gonna remove the Most High's gonna remove the Northern Army from amongst you and ship them out to the Middle East, man. Then the battle of Jehoshaphat, it was the Lord's judgment, Yahweh Shabbat, the Lord's judgment, man. And they all gonna be judged. All you Negroes that Hispanic Native Americans that joined the military, you know, for a better life, to go into college and get your college tuition paid, you ain't coming back, man. You ain't coming back. All you women that joined the military, guess what's gonna happen, man? In combat, see how they had you join the military, because back in the early 2000s, they had a propaganda going on that the women was defending the men, and the men was cowering in the corner, and the women was doing their thing and shooting and shit. You have Beyonce talking about I need a soldier and all that shit. Pumping you women, gas you women to go into the military, and a lot of you Negro women went into the military. That's your destruction.
So hold on, let me read this again. Read that one more time, right? I'm gonna see if you can get this, the map, right?
This is Joel chapter 2, verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army.
The northern army is referring towards America. Go ahead.
And will drive him into a land barren and desolate.
A land barren and desolate means something that's waste. Okay?
Like them deserts over there.
So we're gonna find out exactly where. Go ahead.
With his face toward the EC.
Now it says face toward the EC. Now, this face toward the EC is referencing towards the river Euphrates. Okay? And then we go to Revelation, it reference the Most High is gonna dry up the river Euphrates to prepare the way. Matter of fact, if you can find it, you'll get that. It's
The way of the
type in Euphrates. It should pop up. It's in Revelation. And then it says his hinder part. The hinder part is referred towards the Red Sea, right? Now we go into history. We go into the known world. You had what was known as the what Esau called or referenced as the Fertile Crescent. And why do you reference the Fertile Crescent? Because we look at that region where civilization was first beginning. It was fertile because the Fertile Crescent is also known as what? Mesopotamia. Now Mesopotamia, let's break it down. You got the word. There's a compound word. You got meso and got tamia. Now meso means between or in the middle, and tamia means rivers. In between the rivers, what rivers? You have the Euphrates and the Tigris River. So these two rivers flow down to Mesopotamia. That's why it was fertile, because you had the stream of those two rivers. And you look at where it ends, right? That's when everything else is all desert, and it runs into the Persian Gulf, right? So everything else underneath there is all all the desert. So the Most High said He's gonna drive them to the read that part east. Because we're going into the battle. Because before the destruction happened, there have to be a major battle taking place in the Middle East. And you see all this controversy with Afghanistan, Pakistan. That's the Most High stirring things up for that battle to take place. So go ahead.
With his face toward the EC, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea.
So the EC is the river Euphrates, and the hinder part is the Red Sea. So that will leave you with Saudi Arabia, or the Arabian Desert. So the battle has to take place right here in the Arabian Desert. That's where the battle's gonna happen at. Go ahead.
And his stink shall come up.
Why I said stink? Because there's gonna be a lot of dead bodies. A lot of guys gonna get drafted, sent out, shipped, and they're not gonna come back. So they're gonna have to set up a draft, and they're gonna be bodies upon bodies upon bodies, right? So over time, if you just leave a body laying there, what begin to happen is odor start to rise from those decomposed bodies. Okay?
And his ill savior shall come up.
Yeah, ill savior, that's odor.
Because he had done great things.
Now go to Isaiah, right? Isaiah 14.
I got
so
it. Right
that.
I got it. It's Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12.
Is it 12?
How about thou falling from heaven?
No, I'm gonna go past that. Read Shalakia. Just read it. Take a couple words.
All right. Because what's going on right now is the Most High's gathering these nations pursuant to Jeremiah, the 15th chapter, the 9th verse. They're going out there to come up against America, man. You see what's going on with the European Union, how they all totally pissed off what the American government is doing. That's pursuant to Revelation, the 17th chapter, the 16th verse, how the Most High's going to put the spirit on these nations to hate the whore, man. Who's the whore? The whore is America, man.
19.
Okay. So this is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 19. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the remnant of those that are slain.
Read it again.
All right. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 19. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the remnant of those that are slain.
Go ahead.
Thrust through with the sword, and that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden underfoot. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land.
Right. So these fighters in the Middle East is not gonna get buried, because the Most High has a plan. So it makes sense why the Most High said evil thoughts should take because they gotta for them to get that thought, they gotta have some type of leverage, and they gotta be winning and have the leverage for them to say, you know what, man, let's take full control.
I got a precept real quick. Oh, you want me to finish that?
Finish that, and then
go to that precept I got.
Yeah.
It says
I'm gonna give Revelation 19 bring a precept.
Okay. It says, but thou art cast out of thy grave, verse 20. Thou shalt be joined with
Thou
them.
shalt not.
Huh?
Thou shalt not.
It says, thou shalt not be joined.
Yeah.
Like thou shalt not be joined with them in burial,
Right.
because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned.
Right. So let's say these bodies it's not gonna get buried. So what's gonna happen? Now let's go to Revelation 19 and I believe 18.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19.
17.
This is Revelation, chapter 19, verse 17. It says, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together.
Right. So it says, to all the fowls which fly in heaven, all the birds. You know, go ahead.
Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings.
So the Most High said you can prepare a supper. And he said, and these scavenger birds, what they're going to do, they're going to feed on the flesh of kings. People high, all the way from the high-ranking, certain presidents, prime ministers, all the way down to, you know, a soldier. So the Most High, he said, these birds are going to feed on them. Because they're just going to be laying in the ground. No, and the Most High going to use that to feed them.
It says that ye may eat the kings, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
So they're going to eat their flesh, as in the birds going to eat their carcasses literally, but then again at the same time, those missiles is going to devour them. So it's talking about they're going to be, flesh going to be eaten literally, but also the missiles is going to devour them by way of, you know, that explosion.
I got a precept real quick. This is Jeremiah 25, verse 32. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth, and the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground.
Right. You know, you got some people, they walk their dogs, and it always seen to happen on a rainy day. You go outside after it finished rain, you got You got ship pals all over